Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Peace and Parenting Podcast. I have a guest today, Taylor, who has a parenting question. We're going to get into it. Taylor, will you introduce yourself?
Happy to. So I am Taylor. I'm calling from upstate New York. I am the mom of two wonderful, rambunctious little kiddos, 2 and 4. And something that I am struggling with and surprised to be struggling with is a short temper, yelling, impatience, things that I don't feel like I experience in any other aspect of my life. So it surprises even me when it happens. And I think, one, I'm curious just how to better self regulate so that it doesn't happen. But then also, especially with my 4-year old, he's very aware of my emotions and how I'm feeling. He seems very attuned to that, which is a wonderful
Yeah.
quality. And I think I want to know how to even talk with him about the fact that mama's working on it. I'm
Yeah.
struggling too, and
Mm.
something that I don't want to do and want to do
Yeah,
less of. So yeah.
of course. You're so good. You're such an aware mom. So let's start there that you have a good awareness of yourself. You have a good awareness of where you are and where you want to be. So that's huge kudos because many people aren't. Tell me about your own upbringing. Was there a lot of impatience? Was your mom a yeller?
Yes, and yes. Yeah, I think that I think it was yeah, that's something that I think was kind of present in our household was um I knew, I think I learned more to just like suppress if I was suppress a feeling that might like trigger something in my own mom. I think she was not always like we all, nobody's anything one all the time, but my
Right.
mom was definitely um, you know, had a short fuse. Her like hallmarks were, I've had it up to here. Mom is livid right now. It's like
Yeah.
and that would just tell me like, nope, okay, we're done. So I think that was, yeah, that definitely was part of my upbringing, and I think because of that, I'm surprised. Like I never thought I would
Yeah.
like and like I said, because I'm a very calm, easygoing person in other parts of my life. It's true. Like I never thought that this is something I would be struggling with.
Yeah. I don't think you're alone. I can tell you from my own personal experience, my both my parents had no patience and were yellers, and the last thing I wanted and I was a teacher and I never yelled. I was a
Yeah.
coach and I never yelled. I worked with kids and I never really yelled. I was great. But the stakes are so high, first of all, with our own kids. And so our investment is so much deeper that I think we get triggered to a degree that doesn't exist in other areas of our life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
That
one
makes
piece.
sense.
And I think, if you saw this in your household like I did, it can't help but imprint on us.
Mhm.
It can't help but go in there. And it's never come up before because you've never had a parent-child relationship before, except for the one where you're
Right.
the child.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
now it's coming up because you have this new experience. And, I think that w because you've seen it and because maybe you did suppress your feelings as a kid, maybe subconsciously, that's your expectation in your own house.
Yeah. As we were talking and I mentioned that I kind of suppress things. It's something I haven't made the connection before, but my oldest is really both of them, but he's 4, so he's more aware, is very expressive with what he's feeling as he's feeling. Like he feels it fully. I don't get any kind of watered down version. And like one thing, there's like all these mantras or things that you can find helpful. And I know people have said before, like your kid feels safe to express themselves that way with you. So like that's great. But then also it does like I don't want to respond with that same heightened
Yeah.
intensity because it doesn't do anything to help him calm down.
No, but I think maybe subconsciously, and myself included, we expect our kids to calm down because we did, and so we're just operating in this past experience and not
Right.
fully becoming you're becoming aware, like, slowly over time, right? Because this is a process, but you're not quite there yet, and so I'd say also give yourself some grace, like, it's gonna take you a little bit of time here to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna mess up.
Yeah.
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 And I think apologizing to your son in those times and saying like, "I'm really sorry," and then right after that sorry, you can say, "Mommy's working hard on this. I'm really trying." And just tell him that so that he
Yeah.
knows in those apologies, it will mean something to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll hear that. He really will. I think what helped me most was figuring out, like, why am I yelling? Like, what is it in me? Like, I would parse out one experience, right? And I'd say, like, "Oh, as I told Esme to do something, and she wouldn't do it. And then I had to tell her again, and she wouldn't do it. And then I had to tell her a third time, and I'm screaming at the kid." And I had to sit back and tell myself, and I did it with journaling, and I would write, like, "Why am I yelling at the child who I have to ask 3 times?" And I think for me, like, in those moments, I tried to find the unmet need in myself, and so in those moments, and I had a lot of those where it was an unmet need of, like, not feeling heard and not feeling understood and not feeling like I
Mhm.
could express myself as a kid, and so then when I did as an adult with a child, I thought, "She's not listening to me. She doesn't respect me. She's not hearing me. She's not, I'm not being heard by her." When in fact, she's just operating as a kid.
Yeah.
The problem was me and getting that need met.
Yeah.
So thinking maybe, like, do you remember the last time that you kinda yelled at one of the kids?
Um, I've actually been I feel like I've worked really hard on this. I have to reach back a little bit. Probably, I mean, I don't even I was short for sure. I think I was in public, so I probably kept my voice down more than if I was at home. But we were at the community pool over the holiday break, and all 4 of us were crammed into a tiny little family stall trying to get everyone sorted, like, get dressed, get outside. We had 9 family members waiting for us who all miraculously and everyone's kids, everyone just got dressed so quickly, they were ready to go. So I'm aware of, like, people are waiting for us. It's 10 degrees outside, and I think at one point, I just said out loud, and my husband's a good, regulator in these instances too, but I think we just said, "Oh, we're having a good time," out loud, just, like, trying to diffuse the situation, but that was the last one where I was very, I was really
Revved
short
up.
with him. Yep,
Yeah.
revved up.
Yeah, revved
Great
up.
way to put it. Yep.
Yeah, we get revved up, and it might not even matter if we say anything to our kids, right? It's
Yeah.
just like, I don't wanna feel revved up.
Yes, I don't
Yeah.
wanna feel revved up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I think and maybe in that moment, and I know I've had many of these too, and I talk to people all the time, it's like public embarrassment is, like, overwhelming for us with children. We somehow believe, like, we're going to be the letter A is going to appear on our shirt, and we are going to be the adulterer out in front of all the masses, when in fact, it doesn't even matter. But we
Yeah.
take those public experiences with our kids where we might be embarrassed, we really have a hard time with them, and I think it really bears us to journal on that too and say, like, "Why do I care so much what other people think? Why am I so worried about being late?" Maybe too, that's another one, or being not taking long enough or not being proficient enough or my kids not being good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I'm thinking about, like, a we went out to dinner in the past week, and I was just thanking the server profusely for just being so, like, patient and kind to us, and for her, she was like, "Yeah, y'all are fine. Like, this is you're not even." She didn't say this, but it kinda had an air of, like, "I've seen way worse," And I
Yeah.
think, I do sometimes, um, like, there is like, an artificial urgency when there's not really any. Yeah, it is. And I do know you said this earlier, but I do know that it is me, and it's not like you said earlier, like, "Why am I yelling at this kid who isn't listening to me?" I'll have moments where it's just like, "Why am I yelling at this kid at this child?
Yeah.
He's a child." Like, whatever he's doing, it's like he is 4 years old and is just learning how to be a person in the world. And
Mhm.
so I think I like your suggestion of, whether it's journaling or meditating on it, of just like what I feel like that's something I don't feel very connected to, is like, what is the unmet need? I think that phrasing is really helpful too. What's going on that makes me feel like this is why is that my go-to response?
Yeah, or why is this the emergency moment? Why am I creating this emergency moment in the dressing
Yeah.
room or with the kid who won't listen to you? Why in the hell is this an emergency moment? Is it?
Yeah.
And what a and I think for lateness too, oh, so many of us really stress when we're late, like late to kindergarten. Now I'm not talking late to, you have a surgery planned or
Yeah.
something. That's different. But
Surgery was the first thing that popped into my head too,
well,
so
that's what everyone
and you're
thinks.
like,
So they're like,
yeah,
"Well, what if
this is
it's
an
a surgery?" I'm
emergency.
like, "Okay, okay, but how many surgeries do you have in your child's lifetime? How many surgeries will you have? 1?
Right.
Maybe 1, maybe 2."
Yeah.
But let's talk about all the other times we get amped up about being late. Like late I used to get mad at myself and my kids for being late for play dates. Like
Oh, yeah.
what?
Yeah.
You can't be late. Of course you can be late to the play date. Of course you can be late to the lunch appointment. Of course you can be late to basketball practice. It's okay. And I think that's another one where we can really take the pressures off ourselves. One other piece I think it's important to try to think about is are you are you filled up? You know, are you taking care of yourself? I know everyone likes to say that, but if we aren't, of course we're not going to be patient. There's no way.
Yeah. Short answer is no, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, sleep, like, I usually get enough sleep, but I feel like I'll have, you know, at least a handful of nights, like 1 or 2 during the week where I'm only sleeping like 5, maybe 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like I wake up, I have my coffee, I'm going about my day. I'm not in like an immediate state of feeling tired or run down, but it's impacting me. I know it is.
It is. And then it's
Yeah.
like by the time you've asked your kid to do something 4 times and they've said no and it's 6 PM, you're done. And of course, you're yelling at your kid because you're on empty. So just,
Yeah.
not like self-care, but just thinking about our routine. Like, am I staying up too late and watching 7 episodes of Landman when I don't really need to be? Am I, what am I doing to take care of myself on the weekend? Am I getting my alone time? Am I telling my partner I need 2 hours on Saturday? I have to have it. I got to get my alone time. It's important to me and building those things in isn't selfish. It's self-preservation.
Mhm.
But we have to. We just have
Yeah.
to, or we're the moms, and if we go down, the whole ship goes down.
Yeah. I think I have been, now that they're 2 and 4, like, one of the things that I am really trying to prioritize this year is reconnecting with all the parts of my identity that are not mom. And I
Mhm.
wanna do it for me, but I also wanna do it for them because I want that, like, I talk about, my mom is she had so many friends. She worked a ton, like, work was kinda her life, but she had a ton of friends. She had hobbies, like, she just she was in my whole memory was a full person.
Yeah.
And, I want my kids to see that we are full people too and have interests that aren't them because that's life and I want them to be whole people as well. So I think that's something I need to get better about prioritizing is just whatever I want to explore on my
Y
own, but
yeah, and I mean,
something
but
that's just for me.
you're just coming out of it, right? You're little ones too, so it's like you're just coming
Yeah.
out of the, like, super needy stage, so it's no
Right.
wonder you've lost yourself, but I think
Yeah.
that's so poignant that if w and a lot of people will be like, "My kid doesn't have an activity. They don't wanna do a sport." And I'm like, "Well, what are you doing?" Like,
Yeah.
what are you modeling for these kids? Like, they're not going to do and be the people that we aren't. And so we have to
Yeah.
model who we want our children to be. Do we want them to prioritize exercise? Do we want them to prioritize hobbies? What do we want? So I think that's so smart, Taylor. Really, really insightful. And I think when I was a stay-at-home mom for 13 years. And when I went back to work, I mean, we had a big transition, but I was like, I want to show my daughters that I can have a career and I can, be productive and that I can contribute. And I think it's been a really important thing for them to see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Other good things that are super easy. And I mean, I don't know if these things you're using, but I always tell myself it's so much better to walk away than to say something I'm going to regret.
Yeah.
And we hear it all the time, but it really is. I notice when I'm starting to feel agitated, I can feel like tightness in my chest and like a shortness of breath almost and like a palpitation. And I can feel myself getting hot. And when I notice those things, I tell myself I need to walk away. But I have to notice those things. If I don't notice those things, then I could get on the freight train to the like mean words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's harder to stop midstream
it really
once you're
is.
down that path.
Once
Yeah.
you're going to the station, that's kinda it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is that is very helpful. We we do all 4 spend a lot of time together, and so I think, like, not having like, I don't even, my husband spends more time solo parenting than I do because I'm trying we're actually new to where we live in New York. We just moved here a few months ago, so life's changing in every conceivable way. It's
Yeah.
also part of it.
Yes.
But we're still trying to meet people and figure out what we wanna do here, and, um but will he almost notices it in me before I do, and we kinda have like a, "Hey, do you need a minute? Like, feel
Yeah,
free to,"
yeah.
agreement of like, I can help pull you out of this, but it is I mean, I need to pay attention to that too, and something I was thinking about that you said earlier about, like, even in the moment that you're apologizing, telling your child that you're working on it too. There are times, I mean, I feel like this is also so common. It's like I'm trying to apologize and he's already moved on to the next thing. And he's like, it's okay. And he's not even like looking at me anymore. And I'm trying to really like, no, please look at my eyes. I really want to tell you that, mom is really sorry. And it's like, it feels like it's sitting with me a lot more. But I also know how I grew up. And my mom may think that like, oh, she wasn't experiencing that because of how I was responding, and I don't like, I wanna really make sure I think that's the point I'm trying to make is I like, really want him to hear what I'm saying, and I think even if he's just hearing the words, if he's already focused on the next thing, just saying, "I'm working on it," I want him to hear that part of it too.
Yeah, and I think you can be really brief with it, and I know that for me, I don't know about you, but I always used to apologize, and I was looking for forgiveness.
Yeah.
I wanted them to say it's okay, and I've totally changed my tune now where I'm like, "You know what? You don't have to tell me it's okay,
Yeah.
and I'm not looking for forgiveness, and you don't have to grant me forgiveness. Just here I'm saying it, like, just untethered, like, without
Yeah.
strings, like, "I'm so and I try to say it very matter of factly instead of, like I think I used to say it in, like, a needy, like, "I'm so sorry, oh my god, I didn't mean to, I yelled again," like and it's like, Esme was like, "Alright, lady, like, chill." Like, what are you so upset about?" And it's almost like I made the apology about me too.
Yeah.
And so I've really, like, learned
Oh,
I have a
yeah.
podcast that's called The New Apology. I don't know where the heck it is, but it's in there somewhere. I have a little tool I can give you to look for it. But now my new apology is like, "You know what? This was my fault." And I say it very matter of factly and almost strong. "This was my fault. I'm taking full responsibility, and I'm so sorry." And that's it. And I just say it once, and I don't, I don't care I don't need a response really.
Yeah. That is really helpful. Yeah. That also helps, um, like, reduce the intensity of what I have been feeling in the moment, and then it's like, because I definitely have, yeah, I do I'm thinking about how I've apologized. I feel like I have gotten good about apologizing
Good.
afterward, but it, like, I wouldn't have framed it like that, making it about me, but I do think that's what's, I don't sit there and wait for him to say it's okay, but I definitely, like, want that.
Yeah, we're looking for
I'm
that.
waiting for it, yeah.
Yeah, we're looking for it, and I think it's a good practice just to be not looking for it, and I'm apologizing for me,
Yeah.
right? I'm apologizing because I know it's the right thing to do, because I wanna take responsibility, because I'm at fault. It's all really for me. I'm not apologizing for them. Certainly, to some degree, of course, I am. I want them to know that I'm taking responsibility, but it really is for me to take responsibility. It's not for me to gain, acceptance from them, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is might give you just a different lens around it. I know it helped me, and it actually helped me forgive myself better
Yeah.
because I think I was beating myself up, and I wasn't just being strong about it, like, "Nope, this is mine, I'm taking it, and it's okay I made this mistake." I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm bad, I'm horrible, I'm ruining everything, I'm a horrible parent," like, and that
Yeah.
doesn't help anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that can be a good
That is really helpful.
approach.
That's a very helpful approach. Yeah. I think just even here like, I definitely don't remember my parents ever saying, "I'm sorry," about anything
Oh,
ever, and grown-ups generally. It just
yeah.
was not part of
No.
my childhood, and I feel like that it is like a it feels pretty I've heard his teacher apologize, like, I feel like they hear that, and that
Yeah.
is culturally very helpful. It feels like a step in the right direction.
Yeah, because now they don't have because when you're not apologized to and weird things go on and you know the person is doing something
Yes.
wrong, you somehow are like, "Wait, am I crazy? Or
Yeah.
is it my fault because you're not taking responsibility?" So at least our kids, even if we apologize, you know, correctly or not correctly or whatever it is we do,
Right.
like, we're taking fault,
Yeah.
which is that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Other tiny things that you probably heard before, but are always good to reiterate is like finding a mantra that you can say to yourself when you're starting to get revved up. I like to say, Dr. Laura Markham says, this is not an emergency. This is only feelings. This is only a hard situation. This is
I
only
love Dr.
whatever.
Laura.
Yeah, she's the best. And her
Yeah.
voice is just
I
so
know.
yummy. I want to eat it up. I just want to curl up with her and say, just talk to me, Dr.
Ah,
Laura.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah.
but she says it's not an emergency. That's kind of my favorite one, and thinking about brain science too in those moments, like your prefrontal is offline, your reasoning center, your judgment center, your higher order thinking, your decision making center. When you get to those places, you're offline. So, nothing good comes when we're offline. So,
Yeah.
trying to really ground yourself and getting back online, that's why the mantra is so good, because if you can ground yourself in that moment and get your prefrontal back online, you'll make a better decision,
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
That's helpful.
And the deep breathing, the 4-4, the box breathing, 4-4-4-4 breathing, breathe in,
Mm,
4, hold 4, breathe out 4, hold 4. That will slow down your central nervous system. If you can get that in even just one time, it can save
mhm.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny that you bring that up. We've definitely done that with our child. I don't know that I've done it,
Well,
that
that's
I've done it with like, worked with him to do it, but it's, good to remember that, like, we need that too.
well, that's it too. I think we spend so much trying to get our kids to calm down or self-regulate or, you know, um, try to get them to come off of their feelings or come down from their feelings. And really, the best teacher of that ideology is modeling that
Mhm.
calmness yourself.
Yeah.
So they co-regulate, once we regulate, they glean from our regulation and they can over time will learn to be calm and patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
You're getting there. You
Yeah.
are starting so young. You're so lucky.
I know.
So
Yeah,
lucky.
we had a last night, I came home, I went to a, like, meeting in our town and then came back, and I came back to just, like, screaming from both the kids. It was like my husband's very calm, but, the younger one was grabbing all the older one's stuff. He was snatching it back from her and screaming, and I came in and sat down on the floor of their, like, playroom where they get dressed and everything, and he just it's like the fight was like, "You gotta take your clothes off and put your pajamas on." Like, "What?" And my husband's like, "I've asked him 5 times to put his pajamas on, and he's just, like, not wanting to do it." And he just laid down on the floor and, like, put his head on my leg, and I'm like, "This he's exhausted." This kid, he woke up at, like, 6 o'clock yesterday morning, which is way earlier, and, I realized, like, he doesn't really have the words yet to be like, "I'm just tired.
Yeah.
I'm cranky and I'm tired."
Yep.
And so it's like they're just little humans. The same thing I think about, like, when anytime he's been, like, kinda cranky or in a bad mood, and I always wanna know, like, "What's going on?" It's like, I feel that way sometimes for no I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know. And he's still just a person, like, he's
Yep.
a four-year-old person, but he doesn't need a reason
No,
to be,
and
like, feeling off or,
they don't know. I don't know. Like you
Yeah,
said, I don't know sometimes. Takes me a long time to be like, "Oh, yeah, I was pissed about that thing. Now I'm putting it all together 3 days later." You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just be patient with them. Be patient
yeah,
with their development. Their development is long
yeah.
and circuitous
I know.
and hard. And just know they'll get there. They will all
Yeah.
get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Taylor, thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Yeah,
Thank
that was so
you.
lovely. It
This
was
was
so
great.
lovely. I really appreciate it. I love your questions and, it sounds like you're on your, path with these beautiful kids. You're gonna do great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your resources. I'm grateful to live in a time when there are Michelles and Dr. Laura's out there because it's like
Yeah.
yeah, we all need it takes a village, you know?
Yeah, it really does. Well, thank you for saying that. I so appreciate it. Thank you everybody who came and listened to our little chat on the Peace Parenting podcast, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you.